So let's talk a bit about this hack I've come up with for myself to be more social as someone who is somewhat recovered from social anxiety. And this actually came about during a very toxic relationship I was in, where my girlfriend at the time, at one point, basically said to me, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why do you never tell me what's on your mind?" And, most of the things she said were abrasive, hurtful, and emotionally manipulative. But this time, she was kind of right. I did just be not speaking my mind and being quiet all the time. And so, after a lot of arduous self reflection, I came to the goal of whenever I had something on my mind and I was in a situation with people where it was a social setting and what I was thinking wasn't rude or otherwise off color, I would just say it. And I realized the other day, as I was making an offhand comment about absinthe at a social gathering, that no one, from my perspective, seemed to really care about the comment I was making, but I didn't care. I was going to say it anyway. And that is basically the kind of self respect and self love I am trying to share with you guys. And now I'm sure a lot of you, if you're anything like I used to be, will think, isn't this a really selfish thing to do? Or maybe that I'm advocating for deliberately annoying people with my bullshit thoughts or whatever. But I'm not talking about having no care for what other people think, although that might be nice. I am talking about caring more about expressing yourself than you do about what other people think of you. Prioritizing yourself. Again, self love, self respect. I think this is especially important for anyone who has social anxiety or is trying to learn to be social, because I think it is a very common negative, self defeating thought to think, oh, no one cares about what I have to say anyway. Just say it. Care enough about what you have to say to express it, whether anyone cares or not. And a couple top tips if you are going to do this is one, don't half ass it. Either don't say anything or commit to saying the thing you were going to say. Don't do that thing where you realize no one really cares and just kind of trail off your sentence. Say the full thought. Say it. Commit. Have some respect for what you're going to say. And number two, if it seems like no one heard you, repeat yourself and say it again. I know a lot of people out there are going to, again, be like, oh my God, this is rude. I'm going to be so self absorbed. This is such a weird thing for me to do. But if you think about neurotypical people and people who are naturally social for 2 seconds, you will realize they do this all the time. This is not a weird thing to do. This is, in fact, the normal thing to do. If you have self respect and you believe that what you have to say is worth sharing and no one listens to it, you will say it again because you're not going to have that self defeating thought of, oh, no one cares. You're just going to think, oh, they didn't hear me. Let me say it again. And obviously, although you may think in your head that everything you have to say is worthless or whatever, you will realize when you start doing this that quite a lot of the time, people are actually interested in what you have to say. And not that you should base your self worth on how other people respond to you, but it definitely helps quiet those negative thoughts when you realize that they are more often than not wrong. And one thing that made me reflect on this that I do want to share is I was watching Savannah Brown's most recent video, and she mentioned a similar experience where after kind of having this personal transformation where she came to respect herself more and value her input more, she was at a bar with some strangers and started talking about something she was passionate about. And honestly, from her perspective, seemingly put them off. They left shortly after. But she talks about having the experience of feeling like for once in her life, she didn't sell herself out and stay quiet. She actually stuck to what she wanted to do and express the things she wanted to express, and it felt good, even if the other people didn't receive it well or whatnot. Again, it's hard to tell when someone tells a story. because we all kind of are a little self-defeating. But the main point is you will experience that too when you start to do this. That even if everything you have to say no one cares about, which is obviously ridiculous. But let's imagine that's true. You'll still feel good about being true to yourself and expressing yourself regardless. And this does, from my experience, help quite a lot with building self-respect and valuing your opinions more. That's all I had for you. I hope this can be helpful. Honestly, it was a kind of a vulnerable thing to talk about, but I think it's important for people who may have struggled or be struggling with this kind of thing to hear from someone who is navigating it currently. Thanks. See you next time.